What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bible Corner Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at the RSV Personal Size Edition from Thomas Nelson in the Sovereign Collection. The RSV has been a translation that's not as popular amongst many publishers in recent years because so many other translations have become so well known, but it is a very old and highly valued translation that a lot of people really enjoy and a lot of people still use. And so it's been really cool to see different publishers like Schuyler come out with a premium edition, and now Thomas Nelson coming out with these new editions of the RSV. And I've really been looking forward to these copies in particular, and I know a lot of other people are as well. So these are coming out, should be released around August 13th. And so let's take a look and see if this is an edition that you will want to pick up for yourself. So we got two copies here. We have the brown leathersoft and the black genuine leather. The leathersoft comes in a slipcase, and the genuine leather comes in a single piece clamshell box that opens up like so. Here's some info on the back, 2-column format. It does have 9.5 point font size, and there are some cross references. I don't know the actual amount of cross references, but we will see those in a moment. So I will compare the two covers. So the leathersoft has kind of a golden brown, kind of a glossy finish to it. You can see it reflecting in the light there. Holy Bible stamped on the front. You have this three tooled lines around the edge, perimeter stitching that's in an equally gold brown thread. Then on the spine you have 4 raised hubs, Holy Bible, and then the revised standard version with Thomas Nelson on the bottom, and this decorative design, which is very similar to some of the other types of designs on the Sovereign collections. And then you have 2 ribbons, brown and red, and then gold page gilding. Then also I will point out on this, you have the presentation page is the front. You don't have any extra paper in between. The genuine leather edition, a nice pebbly genuine leather. You can see it's not glossy, it's kind of a matte finish. I really like the feel of it. You have the same 3 tooled line Holy Bible stamped on the front, black perimeter stitching, 4 raised hubs with the gold foil on top and bottom of the hubs, and then you have Holy Bible, RSV, and then Thomas Nelson. You have the ISBN blind stamped on the back, and then you have that same design on the cover. Something that's a little bit different with this one, so you have the same ribbons except black to complement the black cover, and then gold page gilding. This one has a synthetic end sheet. It's not edge lined. This is the biggest difference between some of the other Sovereign collection genuine leathers. It's paste down or paste off as well, but this one has an extra end sheet at the end. So you have your presentation page 1 sheet in, and you have that synthetic type material between that. So that's the major difference in construction between these two. This one just has your presentation page, doubles as your end paper, and this one has the genuine leather has a piece of paper in between. So let's dig into this Bible itself. I do have with me the New King James personal reference, and we're just going to compare it quickly with this one kind of as we go, so we don't have to wait till the end to compare. So you can see the difference with this one. It had more of a pebbly, a little bit shinier grain. Also the same with the Deluxe Thinline reference that I reviewed a while back as well. But they still did the Holy Bible stamped on the front, very similar. And then you can see that design on the back. You have the two ornamental designs here, and then the center, and then the New King James spelled out with Thomas Nelson on the bottom. They didn't change too much on there. But the thing they did change, you can see this was edge lined. And so it had kind of that little bit more difficulty laying flat because you have that tab in there. But this one with the RSV doesn't have that problem because there's no stiff tab holding up the paper. So I'm not sure why they decided to go with the non-edge lined edition for the genuine leather on this one, other than the fact that it is a cheaper option. So these, from what I can see, are going to be selling for around $30 to $40 between the leathersoft and the genuine leather. So under $50 or around there. Some companies might be a little bit more, but it's very affordable. And so I think that might be one of the reasons they went with just a paste down liner. The size of this Bible, the block is 8.5 by 5.5 and around 1.25 inches at the block, but it's a little bit bigger with the cover. So more like 8.75 and then 1.5 inches thick. So it is a mid-sized Bible. The presentation page is right at the beginning. Then you have Holy Bible once again, and then the copyright page has your information there. It is printed in India in a 2024 publication. Red accents, books of the Bible, preface to the Revised Standard Version. Definitely read that if you are not familiar with the RSV. Books of the Bible in alphabetical order. Then we get to the Old Testament. So, as I was saying before, this is something that is really nice and I do like about a Bible that's not edge-lined, and I haven't opened this and used this a whole lot, but even with you can actually just press this down and it will stay open with very minimal use, where even with a tab and an edge-lined Bible, doing this is not going to make it lay flat immediately. It's going to take doing that a lot before that'll even start laying down. So this is a nice option if you want a Bible that lays flat and is really handy to use right out of the box. So here are your intros. You have short book introductions. The chapter and book is in red. Then you have ornamental drop caps, which these are really beautiful. They look really nice. That's the one thing I do love about the Sovereign Collection, is it really gives these Bibles the justice it deserves as a historical piece of Christian literature, and just like the capstone of our faith, it just sets them apart and gives them a little bit of decorative flair that is not too flashy, but it kind of gives it that historical touch that I really like as someone who loves history. So you have a line separating the book introduction from the text, and you have 2 columns of text, and you'll notice that this is not verse by verse. So a lot of the other Sovereign collections are verse by verse. This one is paragraph format, but the verse numbers are in red. Then at the bottom you have a line separating the cross-references and textual footnotes, which are grouped together at the bottom. So it looks really nice. We'll flip to a more central location, and you can see they did a good job spacing the text on this one. There's plenty of room in the gutter. There's even more than a 3/8 inch ribbon width there. So it stands out from the gutter very well. And then you have the same on the outside. So it does put the text in the center of the page very well, and it doesn't look very cluttered, and it lays out really nice. Something I did notice was that I was flipping through comparing the New King James, and I went to the book of Job, and the book introductions were very similar. There was a couple different words, but I'm kind of not sure what they used for the book introductions. They might have just used a standard intro that they've used on different translations, not just unique to the RSV, because there was only one word different in the Job introduction. Something interesting about this one is that the poetic settings are single column verse by verse. So you have double column paragraph format for the prose and historical sections, and then the poetic settings are single column verse by verse, which is kind of typical with a lot of Bibles like this, but they didn't do that with the New King James. They did verse by verse throughout, and then they kept it with the double column verse by verse in the poetic settings. And then something that's also interesting with that is in the prophetic books, it's double column verse by verse. So only in the poetic settings, so like Psalms, Proverbs, and I believe Song of Solomon and Job are all in single column. And the poetic setting, or the prophetic settings, are not. Coming to the New Testament, we have the words of Christ in black. A difference from this and the New King James, because in that one, we had a red letter. So that was another change. But I personally love the black letter, so this is something that I enjoy. I haven't really noticed too much of a difference and variance in the text. There is some shifting from one page to the next in the darkness of the text, but overall it's pretty consistent for a newly released Bible. This one did have a section here, you can see right there, where the pages were still folded over when it was cut, so I just trimmed those off. but you're going to find that, especially with a pre-release copy like this. So it's just a little quirk that will come up occasionally, even in any edition, just because it happens. At the end of the New Testament, there are parables of Jesus Christ. You have the miracles of Jesus Christ, and there is a 1-year Bible reading plan, convenient little boxes to mark off where you are at in your reading plan, and it goes through the books of the Bible in order of their appearance, not in chronological order. There's a brief, and I emphasize brief, topical index in the back of this Bible. It's only several pages long, and then we have a couple pages of notes, a note regarding the type, and then the 8 Thomas Nelson maps. And we get to the end of the book. So that is the Sovereign Collection from Thomas Nelson. I wanted to show, as an aside, a really unique little Bible that's popped up once, I think, on my channel so far. And that's this little Nelson from, I don't even know how old. It's from the 80s probably, because it has the copyright from when the RSV came out in the 1950s, but it doesn't have the publication date. But this is an older Nelson RSV in some sort of calf split leather or whatever this imitation stuff used to be. And I just thought it would be fun to kind of show how it's changed with these. So this one did actually have pictures, but it was a paragraph format, double column text. I'm not sure the text size, probably a 7.5 or 8. It's pretty small. But this one did not have drop caps on every chapter beginning. It only had it at the beginning of the book. So each beginning in every book has a ornamental drop cap as the first letter of the book. But this one, in the newer one, has them on every single chapter beginning. So you have chapter 32, 33, each of those have an ornamental drop cap. You can kind of see the differences in text. Has a very similar look, and I'm kind of wondering if they didn't really change too much on the font that they used. Obviously I don't think this is a 2K Denmark printing, but it has a very reminiscent text feel to it, just a different size. This one is a little bit more Times New Roman-esque, where this one is definitely more open, but very similar. So I thought that was just cool, a little bit of RSV history from Thomas Nelson. This one's definitely old school, but I thought that was a cool touch. So hopefully this was helpful, and I'm really excited to see this one and see how it's received. Definitely have been looking forward to this Bible from Thomas Nelson. I have not used the RSV that much, but I have family members that have. My mom grew up using that, so she's probably going to end up receiving this one, so that way she can read it again. And there's just a lot of people out there that have loved the RSV, still use the RSV, but don't have options to read from. And so I think these are going to be very convenient, portable, affordable options for the RSV that will be coming to you shortly from Thomas Nelson.